Hello and welcome to How Mundane, the least interesting place on the internet. Today we've got the brand new Lorcana Azurite Sea set. And while we open this whole booster box, let's talk Disney parks. Because, you know, I have readily admitted I am a mundane Disney adult. And so that is something that is always on my radar. Specifically, the latest hubbub, as it were. It's all around Premier Access making its debut in the US, something which has actually existed in some of the foreign Disney parks for quite some time. So, Premier Access is an expansion of Lightning Lane, which King Sensor Core Hollow. Lightning Lane, you may know, the replacement for Fast Pass, which was the original construct by which you could get a ticket to come back and wait in a shorter line rather than waiting in the regular line for the full amount of time. And when that debuted, it was absolutely revolutionary for the Disney parks. It was absolutely revolutionary for theme parks in general. And, you know, a lot of people had a lot of love for that original system where you had to go to a particular place, you would scan your ticket, you would get a Fast Pass ticket in return, show up when the Fast Pass time comes, and get to ride your ride. So eventually, that was replaced with this Lightning Lane, which kind of came with all of these digital changes to the Disney parks, by which you could start managing those Lightning Lane entries through the app. Originally, it was you could make, here we go, Oswald, the Lucky Rabbit. Big hit from the new set. Gotta love Oswald. You could make those reservations in advance if you were staying on Disney property. So people were frequently trying to get in the minute you could make those reservations, and some people were getting disappointed. And then eventually we ended up with the addition of virtual queues and paid Lightning Lanes where you could pay to go ride certain rides, which you could actually kind of exploit in some interesting ways. If you did both a virtual queue and a paid Lightning Lane, you could ride some of these super premier attractions like Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind twice in a day when you should have only been able to ride it once. Something which I will admit I did on at least one occasion. But while the US was going in that direction, some of our friends at the foreign parks were starting to go a different direction with something called Premier Access. And the way that works is you could buy a lower level Premier Access, which might give you access to one ride whenever you want to go kind of hop in the Premier Access line during the day. Or you could buy an Ultimate Premier Access, which would give you the ability to ride all of the Lightning Lane rides one time, or Premier Access rides one time during that day. And the cost of the individual rides, I would have to go look, but I believe at Disneyland Paris, it was around 4 or 5 euros a ride. And if you were to get the full big ultimate thing where you got one for all the rides, it was like 90 euros for a day. So, you know, a little more than $100, I guess, depending on where the exchange rate was sitting. But it kind of brought back some of the old flexibility, because the way the Fast Pass system worked, and the way it got even kind of worse with Lightning Lane and Virtual Queue, is you started to kind of have appointment times to be at certain places. And so figuring out how to manage your own movement around the park actually got to be more challenging. Here we go, John Silver. Particularly if you ended up with one of the virtual queues popping up at a really inconvenient time, because you don't have as much control over the timing of when those virtual queues popped. And in fact, I can remember on one trip to Epcot. Whoa, Genie! 2 in a row, 2 packs in a row. That's something else. We were at dinner, not very far into dinner, and suddenly a virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy popped. And so it's like, all right, we got to eat quickly and then get all the way from, we were back in Japan in Epcot, to the front of the park where the Guardians of the Galaxy ride lives, in the window that you're given to do that. So it kind of threw off our dinner, kind of threw off, well, the whole night. I mean, we ended up making it. We were really kind of hauling to get to the front of the park in time, but we did it. Oh. Is this what I think it is? That looks like it might be an Enchanted, and if it is, it will be the first time I have pulled an Enchanted out of any booster box. Oh, it is. And it's Wreck-It Ralph. This is the best booster box we have yet to open. Wow, look at that card. Yeah. So anyway, Premier Access kind of brings that back, and obviously you're having to pay for it, but it also brings back more Lightning Lane access, I guess, to the general public. I think you have a limited number you can use just in general without having to pay for it. I'll have to go double check that though. But if you are willing to shell out the cash for the ultimate Premier Access type experience, you kind of get a lot of your flexibility back. And while Disney is really expensive, and I don't think anyone is doubting that, in the grand scheme of things, depending on how your trip is planned, it may be well worth it or extremely worth it, particularly if you have a limited number of days available. For example, I just this morning actually bought Premier Access Ultimate for the one day I have available in the parks at Disney Paris, coming up here very soon. And tune back to the channel because obviously we'll have some sweet Ribbon on the Road content coming soon. And I plan to do the same for the one day that I will have available at Disney Hong Kong coming up here in the not too distant future, which I am also super excited about, as that is one of the 2 parks I have yet to go to, Hong Kong and Shanghai. So for someone, in my position where you've only got a day, you're on a larger trip, you don't want to take more time out of that larger trip to spend at Disney, but you want to be able to check out everything in the park. To me, the add-on was worth its weight in gold. I will say the day in particular that we are at Disney Paris, I believe it was 120 euros for Premier. Oh, there we go. Jasmine. Man, this box is hitting. 120 euros. I think the lowest it can be is 90 euros. So clearly that is not cheap. That is almost doubling a park ticket cost, if not doubling a park ticket cost. I do not recall off the top of my head exactly what the Disneyland Paris park tickets were, but yeah, I mean, that's a significant investment, but it means you're potentially getting onto everything. And in our case, in Paris in particular, I actually think we may be able to pull off using all of them in both parks in one day if we are smart about it. I will reserve some discussion of that for a post-trip download. Probably opening, I don't know, maybe some other Lorcana sets I got laying around. We'll see. We'll definitely reserve it for some kind of future Disney discussion. I've got some Weiss Schwartz Disney. Oh, here we go. That is a hollow Sugar Rush Speedway. We got some Weiss Schwarz Disney that I need to open and have been meaning to record a video for a while. Planning to talk about what is probably my favorite global park, Tokyo Disney, while opening those Weiss Schwarz boxes. So keep an eye out on the channel for that if you are a Weiss Schwarz and or just interested in Tokyo Disney content. But here we go, last pack. See if this manages to blow out another big win with some last pack magic. But I mean, this has already exceeded every other Lorcana box. Well, Jafar's not horrible. So yeah, far and away the best Lorcana box we have ever opened, with the Oswald, the John Silver, the Jasmine, the Genie, and of course the enchanted Wreck-It Ralph. Thanks for being mundane with us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.